what are some measures that the universities take to help students that face difficulties or disadvantages due to the shift to online classes? On the one hand, this could be like, let's say, difficulties in terms of good technical equipment or good internet or a quiet place to study, but also people that struggle with these online classes, for example, people that have ADHD. I would give that question first to Alois Krieg, I think.
Okay, first of all, people who do not have, for instance, a laptop. We talk to our student body, and if a student has a problem, he can ask for help in the situation. That means we will rent laptops or tablets to the students, but this refers only to a very, very small number of students. So it's not a real problem. The other point is what we did for students who have problems, mental problems or whatsoever. There's a law which says, in this case, you can ask the office to get another kind of exam. And this also happens from time to time, but it's also not very often. We have problems, for instance, if you need learning space. There's more demand on learning spaces over the last years, but at the moment we are not allowed to offer learning spaces because of the legal situation in Germany. At this point, we cannot really help. What the government did is all the students, at least in our state, got an additional semester. That means if they go into exams and they fail, this failure does not count. So it is as if you wouldn't have taken this exam. And you get more support. About 20 or 25% of the students get support from the state. And you get an additional semester of support. And hopefully this will help the students to cover the situation. Thanks.
In our university, we have a multi-chance office which takes care of different kind of difficulties, certified difficulties of our students. And I must say that it's true in this semester, the number of people entering this multi-chance program increased. So probably in consideration of what we are telling here. And clearly this is a problem. I mean, we have to try to have enough people working on this, because if number of students increases, then we have to take care about them, which is more difficult. And also for the examinations, we have already run, settled up a situation in which this office, this multi-chance service is in contact with every of the students and with their teachers also. So teachers know from time to time when these students will have the examination, and set up together special rules, maybe longer time or shorter number of exercises in such a way to level, these difficulties that they have. But it is true that this increase was recorded in these few weeks. So something that we have to consider and take care of.
Yeah, we have something that deals with the Nachteilsausgleich. So again, for the ADHD students, especially to make sure that they're given a fair chance to be able to perform in the exams. Of course, we do that based on what we know in a normal exam situation. It is much harder to judge each student's situation at home. And some might be sharing a room with their younger sibling. Some might be in what we call a Wohngemeinschaft with another 4 other students who've got exams. It's quite difficult to judge that, but each student, we hope, can find a quiet room to be able to do their exams. And in that sense, that's what they have actually at ETH. But you add on the stress of having to download the exam and scan it and put it back up. So again, we know we know it's an issue. I think we decided very early on, right at the very beginning, at the end of February, that we were not going to count any failures because we have 2 goes to pass, and that for the Basis ER, the first year, you have 2 years to pass your exams, and if you end up by failing, that automatically means you get an extra semester. And for those other students who run out of time later on, we're going to be very pragmatic about it. So hopefully that doesn't add on to the additional stress. And apart from that, we're setting up additional money for scholarship, for social scholarships. We've raised the level of the loan from 2,000 to 5,000, instead of it having to be paid back in 12 months over 18 months. We've tried to make sure that our study advice, on the mental health, we have sort of multiple different levels. The students run something called a Nightline, then we help them migrate that from ETH based onto how they're running it now, which is very important, low level. At a next level up, study advice, how do you manage learning in such an environment, how you manage doing the exams, how do you organize your learning? Interestingly, normally face-to-face, we have many, many more interactions, and students have been more holding back on doing that on Skype or on Zoom, which is concerning. So we continue to talk about the fact there is availability. And then at the really more difficult level, when you need psychiatric or sort of psychological advice, we have a service we share with the University of Zurich, and we've upgraded the capacity of that, but that is also at the moment not running full online. So again, there's more capacity, and I think you can understand why students might be a little bit more nervous about going online and talking to somebody when they much prefer to go in person. So I think this is also a little bit of an issue. And I think that what we need to do is to work at a lower level, trying to train students within each year, within each course, to be aware of what are the signs of people who need some help, and then so that they're able to reach out and support their fellow students in a very low-level way, so that you can, in a sense, grab the issue before it gets so bad that you need to go and see the psychological advisory service. But something that is going through my head at the moment, I've been talking about it with some of my staff, I've talked about it with the VSETH, but we haven't done anything yet. And so if anybody else has got any advice on that, so that you can sort of get through into the pause of each year of each study area, I think that might be helpful.